Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Bhadram Pashyem Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaistushtivagum Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitanyadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we meet after quite a while, and there will still be some more interruptions. I think that's, I don't like it. It'd be nice to have a continuity, and I will try to make sure that after this holiday season is over, we will go back to a weekly continuity. And perhaps I'm even thinking that if there are some interruptions, and I can do it a day or two later, and then you can listen to it if you're not available on those dates. So I'm anxious to re-establish some kind of punctuality and so on, but next couple of weeks are going to be somewhat interrupted. Okay, so I'm anxious to get to the main topic, and there's a lot to tell. I'm very excited about conveying the vision of the Shastra. I'm confident of doing so, but it's going to take a little while, so be patient. So before we begin the main text, Mandukya itself, one of the last topics that the Acharyas have taken up, for good reason, it's not something that we should gloss over, it's an important thing, is what is called Anubandha Chatushtaya. Anubandha Chatushtaya. What that means is that for a communication to be fully effective, for a teaching to take hold, to achieve what it tends to achieve, there are 4 conditions required. And if you miss on those conditions, then the teaching will not be effective. This is what is called Anubandha Chatushtaya. And as you know, we're just going to give you advanced commentary on this. You already know all of this from your, that's the assumption of this whole course, is that it is not something you're hearing for the first time. And those you know are Adhikari, Vishaya, Prayojanam, and Sambandha. Adhikari, Vishaya, Prayojanam, and Sambandha. So Adhikari means what is the person that this communication is meant for. It's probably best to look at an example in our lives. So for example, there is a seminar on stock investing, let's just say. Seminar on stock investing. You see this all the time. There must be dozens of these going on at all time, either on the net or in person or something. So if you just look at that example, who is it meant for? It is really not meant for a 10-year-old or anything lower, even 15-year-old or lower. Because they are not expected to, number one, understand the nuances of stocks, and number two, they don't want to learn about stocks. So it's inappropriate. But if you have someone who has some savings, even for a person that doesn't have any savings, stocks is not something that would be appealing to them. So a person that has some savings, it doesn't know what to do with where best to invest it in, then it is inappropriate. So the adhikari means then appropriate adhikari must be there. And we'll go over there, we'll go over who's the adhikari for Advaita Vedanta. It will come obviously in great detail, but we'll go over that. But anyway, just to look at the conditions. So adhikari is one. The second one is vishaya. So vishaya means, in this context, money. Money is the vishaya. Okay, funds, money, something you can gather and you can utilize. So that is the subject matter of this stock seminar. The third one is prayojanam. So prayojanam means what is the purpose and what is the goal. You can both say kind of like strategy and tactics. Both are included in this prayojanam. Prayojanam means what is it that you're trying to do. So what it means is, how much money do you want to gain? What's your goal? And that's it. That's the prayojanam. Then the last one is sambandha. Sambandha means a connection. The connection between the subject matter and the goal and what is being conveyed. How is that going to happen? So there we saw, and it's going to be very similar for Vedanta as well, that you first learn the basics of stock investing, including options and all of those kinds of, advanced versions of stocks, trading versus investing, etc., all of those kinds of things. Once you learn that, then you have to do something. So you cannot just say, I know all about it. Well, have you put that into practice? And then when you put that into practice, then you have to wait. Time is important. You cannot say, I just invested and I've been waiting for 1 month, nothing has happened. You have to have some. So that is the sambandha. There is some kind of a sequence. You go to a seminar, you note down all the points, you learn, you put that into practice, and then you wait, and then money will come. This is the example. All right. So in the case of Mandukya Karika, the Bhashyakara Adi Shankara says that we must understand the Anubandha Chatushtaya for learning Mandukya Karika. So here a note is made. You can read this from particularly in Swami Dayanandaji's book. Both of them do it. They have parallel teachings, both Swami Akhandanandaji and Swami Dayanandaji. But you can see from there, they both make a point, very interesting point really, that so there are two things involved. One is the overall Shastra, and we will define Shastra in a minute. So the overall Vedanta teaching, this is one thing. The other one is a particular text that you are studying in order to understand the overall Shastra. So they make a point, Shankaracharya ji makes a point, that there is in fact a Anubandha Chatushtaya for the whole Shastra. And this is given in at various places. So you can, and the Acharya will explain it to you that, you should be the right adhikari. This is where the Antakarana Shuddhi comes in. This is also Naishkarmya Siddhi comes in. That is not, unlike the stock investing where you have to do something. Here, this is slightly different. You don't have to do anything, but there are some things that you need to effectively, I cannot even use a word, to do. It is still doing, but it's a different kind of doing. It's a very minor doing. Praptasya praptihi means that you already have it. There is nothing much that you need to do, but yeah, you have to search for the right pocket. That's it. So the doing is there, but it's a very minor doing. It's not the same thing. Anyway, all that will come in the Shastra in terms of the explanation of the Chatushtaya, Anubandha Chatushtaya. Here, however, Mandukya Karika is not the entire Shastra. So this is what is called Prakarna Grantha. You can say a Prakarna Shastra. Why is that? Why can't we say that the Mandukya, which is one of the most important Upanishads, is not the whole Shastra? Particularly because of the length of it, only 12 mantras, it does not cover the entire spectrum of things that the Shastra needs to convey to you. What it does is some very important things, which is Avasthatraya Viveka, from Jagrata Avastha to Swapna Avastha to Sushupti Avastha. So through that it conveys the essence of the whole teaching, but it doesn't cover the entire aspect of karma and karma phala, just like Bhagavad Gita is a complete Shastra. There the Avasthatraya Viveka is one of the aspects of it. But here, the Mandukya does not represent the entire Shastra. It only represents one aspect of it. And so therefore, Anubandha Chatushtaya doesn't need to be present. But Shankaracharya ji actually makes a point, in fact Swami Akhandananda makes a point, that they feel that we should talk a little bit about it anyway, even though the Mandukya Upanishad does not begin with saying Atha Anubandha Chatushtaya, because it is you are supposed to learn it from other places. But it'll be good to review it while we are talking about it. So this is given in I forget the page numbers. I think we can go through this. Swami Dayanandaji's book. On page 35 it says, Tathapi. Yeah, beautiful. Number 34, Ataha evana prithak sambandha abhideya prayojanani vaktavyani. So he says that we are not going to specifically talk about it. Yani evatu vedante sambandha abhideya prayojanani tani eva he bhavantu arhanti. He says whatever is there in the main Shastra also applies here. Then he makes a point in page 35. Tathapi, even so, even though what we just talked about is true, prakarana vyachikhyasuna sankshepataha vaktavyani. So he says that because of the prakarana vyapichachuksha, because of the vyakhya, because I want to do I want to explain the prakarana, sankshepatāh vaktavyani. I might as well do it in a very short form, not in the entire form, because you can even have a course on Sambandha Chatushtaya and all of the preparation for improving our minds and for getting ready for this knowledge. That requires a lot of discussion, a lot of examples, repetition, etc. Yes, we're not going to do that, but I think I will do that in a very short one. So he gives that. So that's on page 35 of Swami Dayanandaji's book. And in the Swami Akhandananda's book also, it points out on certain pages exactly the same thing. So here, Swami Akhandananda now explains the word Shastra. You know, we've been using the word Shruti, Shastra, etc. So this is an important thing to see. Normally, Shastra means, through the Vyutpatti of Panini, Shasanat Shastram. Shasanat. Shasanat means because it is an order. It's an order, something that has to be done. You know, like paying property taxes. So you get a notice a month or two in advance and saying your property taxes are due and it is on December 10th. And if you don't pay, then, which I actually have missed paying, don't tell this to my wife, but at least a couple of times in my life. And it's a very stiff penalty. So it's an order. To simply, it's so. Shastra means an order. You must do this. Okay? And in fact, in the Purva Mimamsa, the Karmakanda, the people who are scholars of the Jaimini there is a mantra, Amnayasya Kriya Arthatvat Anarthakyam Tadathanam. This is Swami Dayanandaji used it. This is one of his favorite mantras. Amnayasya. Amna means the Shastra, all the Vedas. Vedas are called Amna. Amnayasya Kriyarthatvat. He says because, so there is a logic in this. Amnayasya, which is a Shashti, Asya, Kriya Arthatvat, which is a Panchami. So whenever there is a combination of Shashti and Panchami, it means there is a logic. So he gives the logic and then gives an order. And Jaimini says that the entire Veda is based on Kriya. Kriya means you must do this. So the yajnas that have to be given, the timing of that, what time of the year, what time of the day, all that has to be done very precisely. Otherwise it won't happen. If you want results from Vedas, then you have to be very precise. It's an order. And Jaimini says that the entire Veda is really full of Kriya only. Kriya. So you do this, you do this, you do this. And then there are Kriyas for various different things. If you want, if there's not enough rain, if there is drought, then you do some things to invite rain. And it actually happens if it is done properly. Similarly, if you want progeny and you're not able to do that, you can improve your chances by doing certain kriyas. If you want to go to Swargaloka, then you have to do certain kriyas. So this is the whole thing is nothing but kriya, kriya, kriya. Kriya arthatvat amnasya. Then he makes another statement. He says, anarthakyam tadarthanam. Sorry, atadarthanam. Tadarthanam means that the prayojanam for kriya. Anatarthanam means that if kriya is not indicated in the Vedas, anarthakyam, anartha, it has the quality of being anartha, means it doesn't give you any results. Artha, as you know, we talked about this in the Tuesday night class. So artha stands for artha kamam dharma. So he says there will be no arthas if you do not do the kriya. This is the statement. This is a very big thing because 99.9% of the Vedas is all about kriya, do this, do this, do this. This is an order. This is what Shasanat Shastram. Here, the wisdom of people that understand the whole Vedas, the purport of it, what it does and so on, raise their hands and say, no. This is only a partial view. We do not reject it, but this is not a complete view. Why not? Because there is another meaning of the word Shastra, which means Shansanat Shastram. And I don't know, and if I don't remember the exact etymology of Shansanat and Shasanat. All that requires scholarship of Sanskritam. And maybe I knew that at one time, but I've forgotten it. So I won't say that, but I'll tell you the truth. Shansanat Shastram means the following. So the wisdom of the people says there is two meanings of the word Shastra. What is the second meaning? Shansanat. Shansanat means, and this is the one that we should really understand, the people who are interested in knowing Jnanam, Jnanakanda, should know this. Shansanat Shastra means the one that completely explains something is called Shansanat Shastra. Not partial. It is the final word that takes into inventory everything that we are made up of. So you cannot say that you're made up of hands and feet and legs and eyes and so on. That's it. That's who I am. Memory maybe, both Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira. That's it. No, that is incomplete. It is there, true. I'm glad that you're going through systematically, but don't stop there. There is much more to know. In fact, the main portion you haven't even come to, which is Paramatma, Ishvara, and how that is involved, and this is what is called Adhyatma Vidya. So as Swami Akhandananda goes through this much later in the Karika, that so in Manusmriti also it says that unless you have Adhyatma Vidya, you do not know what's going on. So for example, if you just take yourself to be the sense organs and the organs of action and the body and so on and so forth, you make a complete mistake. In fact, these are karanas. Karanas means that they are instruments. And if you say that, then the question is, instrument for whom? Because if you think you are the instrument, you're making a huge mistake. So you need to understand that it is an instrument. It behaves like an instrument. It is meant to be an instrument. If you do that, then you have an introduction to the person, because the instruments are not meant for themselves. Car is not meant for itself. The car is meant for you, somebody who's different from the car. So, Shansanat Shastram means a correct and a complete understanding of what is going on is called Shastram. So, there we say that your view, your meaning people who are only doing karma, kriyarthatvat, if you only do that, you don't have the full picture. Not the full picture. Yes, kriya is very important. Order for doing things are important. But the question is, for what purpose? That prayojanam, which will come in a minute, that prayojanam must be understood. And what that means is that my entire experiencing of the world, this is the message of the Bhagavad Gita, is that, people say that it's really meant for, it's got, because Bhagavad Gita is a complete shastram, people take portions of it and apply it, which is okay. There's lots of people who say how to be a successful businessman. What are the principles of being very successful is all given in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, it is given in the Bhagavad Gita, no doubt about it. But it is not the only thing. You have to understand the real purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, to say that Vedas is only about Kriya is not a complete understanding. What it means is, as Bhagavad Gita also says, that karma is an important instrument for getting yourself ready for jnana. One thing that finally delivers the goods of freedom is that I am already free, as we will talk about in more detail. So therefore, I'm summarizing this topic, that the Shastra means one that tells me a complete idea about who I am. If I don't do that, then, and this is exactly what happens in my life, because unless I look at a complete view of it, I'm only looking at things that I experience. Even some small things that may happen. One of the students just wrote to me just last night that she was bothered by something that happened. Something fell and she thought it was not a good omen and so on. So this is exactly what happens. We are so enamored by things that we observe that we completely forget about the observer, who is the important person. This is what it is all about. And it is not just smaller things, not what she wrote about. Every day we have the same issue. Is everything okay? Is my health okay? Are people respecting me? Do I have friends? It's all about external things. And we give all the reality about it because that's all we can do. That's what we are taught. That's what we are born in. But the real meaning of Vedanta is, can you please leave that aside for a minute? A minute means for a while. fine. You can, if there's the world will be there, and you'll deal with it one form or the other. But in the meantime, can you please turn your drishti towards something that you are unaware of? That is you. And there's so much more to you than you realize. But at least begin. There's not so much to be done, but at least begin to appreciate the power and beauty of yourself. So that is the complete Shastra. It is not just Kriya Arthatvat, you do this, and so on. That's all okay. And there, as Bhagavad Gita says, that because we are conditioned to doing, is what we are doing in our life. We just say, okay, I'm not very happy. I don't feel very good about it. What do I do about it? Okay, so then you go do some things about it. You change things, you change jobs, change marriages, this, that, or the other, all kinds of stuff you do. And then you say, am I okay now? Yeah, but not completely done. So what should I do? So we are always conditioned to doing. But the Shastra says you can turn the doing into a yoga, karma yoga. And yes, you are conditioned to doing. There's nothing you can do about that right away. You cannot just sit there and say, I'm not going to do anything. This is what Krishna also tells Arjuna, that if you simply say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit there and so on and so forth, you're being stupid. It won't work. So you have to keep doing things, but in a manner where you keep the larger goal in mind, which is an appreciation of yourself, of Paramatma, of Ishvara. So that is the complete Shastra. Anyway, I'm just giving you an explanation of the word Shastra. What does Shastra means? Okay. So here, in terms of the Anubandha Chatushtaya, Adhikari, Vishaya, Prayojanam, Sambandha, etc. Very briefly, I won't go into a lot of detail on that. So, an Adhikari is the one, again, I won't spend a lot of time on this, is the one that has felt that my life as I am engaged in experiencing is not yielding what I want it to do. Is the Adhikari. Some feeling comes in that as I am leading my life, it is not really leading up to something. You can say I'm lost, but you don't say that to yourself. Nobody admits that I'm lost, but that's the understanding. This is the Adhikari. And most of the people don't feel that. They don't feel that. They feel, yeah, nobody's happy. I'm not happy, but let's keep on doing. At least I'm happy temporarily. That's a good thing. But it's kind of like a deep-seated thinking that, my God, where am I going? What's happening? I've tried from what I normally do. It's not yielding. Is there something else that I can do? So this is, of course, the very famous mantra. It's my favorite mantra. When I just introduced Swami Muktananda, I said the same thing. Every time I do the same thing, which is from Mandukya Upanishad, which says, Pariksha lokan karmachitan ayat brahmanaha nasti akritaha kritena tat vijnanartham gurumeva abhigachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. This is a very important verse, which says, Pariksha lokan karmachitan. Karmachitan means karma sadhan, means the ones that are established by kriya, by doing things. All your life where you do something, you improve yourself, you get a new job, you get more money, all those kinds of things. And then you stop back and say, is it it? Am I happy? No. So what am I going to do? And the interesting thing is that I cannot give up the desire for being totally happy. I cannot give that up because my nature is Ananda. If the nature is Ananda, you cannot give up being Ananda. So this is a very strange situation that I cannot afford to give up being Ananda and I cannot get Ananda. What kind of a srishti is it? Some cruel srishti? No. So I was very lucky that when I felt that way in my life, Ishvara presented the gurus to me and continues to do so. He presented Swami Chinmayananji. Then he presented Swami Dayanandji. Then he presented Swami Maheshanandji. Then he presented Swami Akhandanandji. And I think now I have a much better understanding. But it took a while. But it's not there until you are an adhikari. If you feel, oh, I'm okay, this is what Swami Dayanand used to say, that if Vedanta doesn't grip you, then you are not ready yet. You are not an adhikari. An adhikari would be you'll say, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is exactly what, it should happen. That is the adhikari. Then the Shastra says, what is the Vishaya? That is the adhikari. What is the Vishaya? So there are different Vishayas for different Shastras. So for example, in the Nyayika, there is Nyaya Shastra. So Nyaya Shastra means that Nyaya and Vaisheshika. So both of these people have their own Shastra. And so that Shastra says not a complete, but because I have to be careful about what's missing. This is the modern science. So what modern science does is, I want to really understand everything about what's happening. what are the periodic table, what are the basic elements of the world. And then you break it up into electrons, and then you look at particles, and you look at this. And so this is what you are examining. You look at energy, all of those kinds of things. And this is what Nyayikas and Vaisheshikas have done for thousands of years. So this, they have their own Shastra. Then you have a Sankhya Shastra that talks about Prakriti, the samya between all the three, Rajas, Tamas, and all the three of them. So that's the Sankhya Shastra. Then, of course, people have their own ideas. Jains have their own ideas. So there's a complete understanding of what they believe in. Then we have Karma Mimamsa that talks about all the various dharmas that have to be done, all the kriyas that have to be done. So in Vedanta, this is called Moksha Shastra. So what is the purpose? What is this Vishaya? This is what I'm saying. What is the Vishaya of Moksha Shastra? The Vishaya of Moksha Shastra is what you think of yourself as a jiva is the Jivatma is the same as Paramatma. Brahma Jiva Aikyam. Ahamasmi sadabhami kadachit naham apriyaha brahmaiva ham atas siddham satchidananda lakshanam. Aikyam. That what you consider to be a room space, please see that it is just a small mistake. You are the total space. This is the Vishaya of Moksha Shastra. And this Moksha Shastra is by jnanam, by knowledge. So in the case of the room space, he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to pull the walls down. See, this is the nature of Vairagya. So when we say Viveka and Vairagya, Vairagya means that you don't have the same degree of being hung up on outside things. What does that mean? Do you have to dismantle the outside things? Well, there's so much discussion about this in Swami Akhandanandaji's explanation. And so this is exactly what he's pointing out, that he says that there are people who, in his life, he has seen thousands of such cases where people say, you know what, this life is too much for me. My grihastha life is too much for me. I need to take sannyasa. So they go to some guru and say, I can't take it anymore. Your life seems so pleasant and so on. You're always doing bhajans and food is served and nobody's angry at you and so on. This is what I want to do. This is what my vairagya is. And can you give me the right clothing so I can also look like you and so on and so forth? People will also respect me. Total falsehood. Doesn't work at all. Because your mind is still the same. Just having some outside vairagya doesn't mean anything. So you don't have to dismantle the walls to become total space. Then what? You have to understand that the room space is just a kalpana. It's kalpita. The kalpita means it is just kind of a thinking. That thinking needs to be examined and re-examined and re-examined. Finally, you'll say, oh my God, what was I doing? Jnanam is the Vishaya. Moksha Shastram, Jnanam is the Vishaya. We can say it is even a Prayojanam. Jnanam is the Prayojanam. Yeah, I'm sorry, not Vishaya. Vishaya is Moksha and Jnanam is the Prayojanam. And the Prayojanam is what is called Paramparya. So this is all given in the Shankara Bhashya. In fact, I just took this out. I don't have my glasses, but I can read it. Yeah, okay, let me do this. So if you read the Shankara Bhashya, so there are various books you can read. I think I gave you one from the Rishikesh Ashram, one book. But this one, if you have a chance to do this, is a very beautiful one, which is presented by Motilal Manarsi Das. So he says, Ishadi Dashopanishadaha Shankara Bhashya Sametaha. So this is a very good book for those of you that are interested. So what it does is, it gives the entire, how many Upanishads? Dasha Upanishads. So 10 principal Upanishads it gives with Shankara Bhashya. Ishavasya, Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, Prashnopanishad, Mundaka Mandukya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Aitareya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. These are the 10 main Upanishads. It gives all of them. So here in the page that I am taking out, it's Mandukya Upanishad. Let me read out to you the relevant Shankara Bhashya in this. So in Swami Dayanandaji's book, he has taken that up, but there is an mixing of English and Sanskritam. So it's all given on page 34, 35 onwards. Similarly, in Swami Akhandananda's books also, he doesn't use, because there is so much commentary, there will be several pages before you go to the right Shankara Bhashya. So this is all just the right one. Let me read it to you. Okay? Then I will do the explanation. So this is on this one is page 177. He says, Tatra. See, before this, let me read the whole thing to you. So the first two prayer vakyas that we've already done, remember? Pragyana Amshu Pratanaihi Sthiracha. We've done that second, then the second one is Yaha Vishwatma Vidijana. So we've done all those two. Then the text starts. The text says, Om iti etad aksharamidam sarvam tasya upavyakhyanam. So that is, he says that the Mandukya Upanishad, which starts with Om iti. We will do that when we go into that. What is the meaning of Om iti? Om iti etat aksharamidam sarvam tasya upavyakhyanam. He says this vyakhya that I am doing is upon Om, which is the subject matter of Mandukya. Then he says, Vedanta Artha Sara Sangraha Bhutamidam Prakarna Chatushtayam Omiti Etad Aksharamiti Arabhyate. So he says that because this is a Sara of Vedanta, so this is an interesting thing to see. So the Mandukya, this is why in the teaching of, see if you go back to the 10 Upanishads, let's go back to the 10 Upanishads. Where was it? Yeah. The 10 Upanishad, there is a sequence of learning. Okay? And in our course at PRC, it was pretty much followed, although we did not do Ishavasya Upanishad. So they say that Ishavasya Upanishad should be studied first. So this is a sequence. Then Kena Upanishad, so we did that. Katha Upanishad, we did that. Prashna Upanishad, we did not do. Mundaka Upanishad, we did. Mandukya Upanishad, then we did. Taittiriya Upanishad, that we did. Aitareya, we did not do. Chandogya, we did portions of. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we did not do. So in the course of 2.5 years, they have to select what the right. But if you have enough time in your life, this is the sequence that you should do. There, Mandukya Upanishad comes quite late. You should have studied all the other ones first. So this is why it is called Vedanta Artha Sara Sangraha Bhutamidam Prakarna Chatush. Prakarna. Sara Bhuta means that it is the essence. Mandukya will not make sense until you've done Kena and Katha and Prashna possibly and so on. Then comes the Sara Bhutam. So this is what he says. Then he talks about what I've already talked about, that the Anubandha Chatushtaya, Ataha Evata Prithak Sambandhadi Sambandhadheya Pravojanani Vaktavyani Yani. I've already read that. Now comes the one that he will now talk about. So he says, Tatra Prayojanavat sadhana abhivyanjakatvena abhidheya sambandham shastra paramparyena vishishta sambandha abhidheya prayojanavat bhavati. Tatra, one more time, Prayojanavat sadhana abhivyanjakatvena abhidheya sambandham Shastra paramparyena vishishta sambandha abhidheya prayojanavat bhavati. Beautiful. So what he's saying is that now he establishes the sambandha and the prayojanam. Is what Adi Shankara is saying. He says, here's how it happens. The question is, what are you and I doing? First of all, we've already settled on the adhikari. You want to learn. You would not be here until you feel this is something that I need to do. Okay? So you're already doing that. Vishaya has been made clear to you that it is complete freedom from all problems, not temporary freedom. We all know about temporary freedom from problems. All we have to do is to eat ice cream. So that's not what we're talking about. This is complete freedom from any dukkha. This is the Vishaya. Then the Prayojanam is, goal is that I want to do this while I'm alive. I don't want to wait until my next life or anything. Who knows what's going to happen? You tell me, is it possible to do that in this life and how? So this is the prayojanam. Now comes the sambandha. So this is where all the commentary is. The question is, how am I going to get freedom just by attending a class? I send you all these WhatsApp and our next class will be on such and such, and you are actually spending the time. I hope you're not doing multiple things. You're not looking at your emails at the same time and kind of looking at me and saying, what is he saying? I hope you're paying attention. Why am I paying attention? What does that do for me? What is the sambandha? So there Adi Shankara says, Paramparyena. And Swami Dayananji also goes through this and very well. He says, Paramparyena Vishishta Sambandha Abhidheya Prayojanavad Bhavati. Abhidheya here means, what is the Vishaya? What is the Vastu? What is the Vastu? What is it that we are doing? This is, my God, my thoughts go into, this is a very beautiful explanation that will come later on by Swami Akhandananda. So he says that, I'll just briefly mention it, okay? Then we'll go back to it. So a lot of ideas on that. So at one point he was talking about, and this will come later, the difference between a jnani and an ajnani. Who is the knower and who pretends to know but doesn't know? He was talking about that part of it. Not pretends, you said doesn't know fully. Whether he pretends or not is secondary. Let's not even go into that. But who knows? And who doesn't? So we give a very beautiful, simple example. He says, supposing there is a child, and you ask the child, this is, I've just gone through with my 2.5-year-old granddaughter, and we have an 8-month-old grandson who doesn't know this yet. So you explain to them, what is nose? So for Sanya, we used to say, Sanya, what is a nose? And their parents, my daughter-in-law and so on, they've got all these booklets that show the shape of a nose, the shape of ears, the shape of lips, and they have to repeat it and so on. Okay? So, supposing there is a book and there is a picture of a nose, which they have. This is what happens to, all these elementary books that teach. There is a certain age, about a year or year and 20, where you can become intelligible. So supposing there is a picture of nose, okay? Now, to listen to this. Suppose my granddaughter, she has been told about this picture called nose, and it's different from a picture of the ears, and different from the picture of the lips. And then you say, at some point in time, so this is interesting, this will happen. You ask this person, Sanya, where is the nose? And at some point, she can distinguish between the pictures and point her picture to this one and say, this is the nose. And that will be a correct answer. Okay, this is the nose. She's not pointing out to the ears. She's saying this is the nose. And we've gone through this. Is this the final? Is she a jnani? Why? Because she's looking at a picture of the nose on the book. She's not a jnani yet. Then what? The next one is, The parents are supposed to say, this is your nose, Sanya. And it might take her a little while to say, I thought this was the nose. And I don't know how they would show that and say, where is the nose? Now if you ask her, she's past that. She's doing a lot of other interesting things. Amazing how the mind grasps all kinds of things. And now if you ask her, Sanya, where is the nose? She'll say, this is the nose. Now she is the correct jnani. So, similarly, suppose you ask someone, do you know Brahman? And the students of Vedanta who have now studied about Brahman, how is the Atma and so on and so forth, studied Taittiriya Upanishads and so on, they will say, yes, I know Brahman. Is Brahman the Sukshma Sharira? No. Karana Sharira? No. Sthula Sharira? No. Is it the Jagrata Avastha? No. Is it the Swapna? All those things. No. I know all that. This is not lips. This is not ears. This is the nose. Then what is it? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. They'll say, I know. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. I know. And the teacher will say, good. You have now. Is this the truth? Is it a jnani? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman is not a jnani. It's just like Sanya will say nose is here. She's not a jnani. Then what is it? I need to know, and only then will I be a jnani. Brahman is me. Just like saying this is nose. I cannot say any one place where I can put fingers. Brahman is me. Then I am a jnani. Anyway, all that discussion will come in more detail. I just want to give you a glimpse of what it is in one. So what is the difference between complete ajnani, partial jnani, and then jnani. So we can complete this. Obviously we didn't go nearly as much as I wanted to, but here, so he says paramparyena sadhana bhavati. So paramparyena means, so going back to the basic question that I haven't answered, what are we doing here? By attending a class and by reading the books and doing all this and notes and so on and so forth. So this means that the element, this is exactly like teaching a young girl, that first you distinguish one through the other, and then you transform that to say, and if it's possible, you may have to show the shape of the nose to her and say, don't you see this is your nose? So similarly, there is a parampara. You first read a book, then you listen to a teacher. You first listen to a teacher, you can read some books along with it, and then at least the distinguishing mark of Brahman must be very clear. And then it is said, as we will do in great detail, this is what the whole teaching is going to be about. that, my dear, you cannot have Brahman which is separate from you. Cannot do it. It's not possible. It must be you. Don't you see it? All of that will come later. All of that will come later. So this is the sambandha. All we are doing is just talking about sambandha. Anyway, that is one. So there, Brahma Abhivyanjaka. There is I express that word Abhivyanjaka. Abhivyanjaka means by expressing it, by the teacher expressing the sadhana. Abhidheya means Vishaya. Anyway, so all of that is done. Then I think in the next 5 or 10 minutes I want to one more topic, and then we are done with this. Actually, I won't go. Yeah, I think we'll just do that. Okay. So now comes the next line from Shankara Bhashya. So next one is Kim punaha tat prayojanam iti uchyate. So this is very beautifully explained in Swami Dayanandaji's book, and this is on page 37. Kim punaha tat prayojanam iti uchyate rogartasya iva rogaha nivrittau swasthata tatha dukkha atmakasya atmanah dvaita prapancha upashame swasthata advaita bhavaha prayojanam. What a lovely discussion. So I'll go over that in the next 5 minutes, and then the class will be done. So he says, Kim punaha tat prayojanam. So we already talked about the prayojanam. Prayojanam means what is the purpose. He says, Paramparyena vishishta sambandha abhidheya prayojanam bhavati. So he says, what happens to the prayojanam is that through parampara vishishta sambandha abhidheya prayojanam, that by first listening, then thinking, meditating, all those kinds of things, you reach to the point of understanding what is the prayojanam. Okay, so this was done previously. Now a question is asked. Kim punaha tat prayojanam? He says, what is this prayojanam? What is this purpose? How is that possible? So this how is this possible is brought out by Swami Akhandananda. Quite frankly, I haven't had a chance to read Swami Dayanandaji's explanation, but I just got such a good explanation of this by Swami Akhandananda that I didn't even go and bother to see if it was, that's not the point. If there is something really good concept, then I just take that and then go on with it. Beautifully done by Swami Akhandananda. He says, there is a question by a student. He says, what is the prayojanam? So here Swami Akhandananda says, let us understand the sense of this question. Let us understand why is this question even being asked. This is why doubts and objections are very important, because we need to understand on what basis are the doubts and questions. Before we understand the answers, we must understand the purpose of the fully appreciate. You cannot say that, why are you even asking? I already explained what the prayojanam is. No. So you are very sympathetic and say, let me understand why you're asking. So this is what Swami Akhandananda says. So he says, this is the reason, you will understand this. The questioner says, wait a second. Is moksha Nitya or Anitya? Here's my question. This is the reason for my question. What is this prayojanam business? What is this moksha? This freedom? Is the freedom nitya, means it's constant, or is it is it changing? You tell me. I'll tell you why I'm asking the question. If something is already there, there is no sadhana for it. Like, for example, supposing you say, this is the ground, this is Prithvi. This is where you have some dirt, rocks, etc. This is Prithvi. This is what this Prithvi is made out of. This is Nitya. It's been there thousands of years. There's nothing you can do. There's no sadhana for it. So why do we need to even bother about it? You just see it and you just use it, and that's all. And so this is Nitya. But if it is Anitya, if you say, no, this is changing, and the earth does not remain the same, it keeps on changing, and so on and so forth. If it is Anitya, then how can there be moksha? That means that you already agree that this is going to change. This is exactly what happens in our life. That things are changing and we want it not to change. This is the cause of dukkha. This is a very beautiful explanation that we will come later in the Karika. That our main problem in life is that things are changing and we don't want it to change. We want the same people, we want stability, and we don't get stability. In fact, that's a separate thing that we will study, that the main path to being happy is accept change. Don't hang on to it. Don't hang on to things. Trying to hang on to things is the cause of the problem in our life. This will come in a major topic later on in the Karika. But here, bringing that out here, the questioner says that similarly, if something is anitya, then there is no point in my hanging on to it, because you yourself said that if there are changing things, to hang on to it causes problems. So either way, I don't see the sadhana. I don't see the purpose, the prayojanam, nothing. Is it moksha nitya? If it is, then there's nothing you need to do. If it is anitya, then why are you even worried about it? So I was hoping that I would also provide the answer to this in today's class, but I'm running out of time. So we might as well do that in the next class, which will be 2 weeks from today on the 30th. So with that, I close today's class, and obviously I was hoping to do more, but that's the way it's going to go. Anyway. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So, Keshav, you say my understanding is moksha is anitya, but mukti is nitya. I don't know where you got that distinction. It is not correct. Mukti and moksha are both the same, and it is already there. It is not. It is not to be achieved. It's not like moksha is not here now. It will come later. All this will come later. So please listen carefully. But what you say is not correct. Jan Jagdish Brahmachari, there are any number of books by Swami Akhandananda. And if you are a Hindi speaking person, Hindi is your language, you are in luck. And you should, my advice to you would be straight away go into it. What you get out of these books is amazing. It's just incredible. So yeah, please find out. We have lots of sources. In fact, I think we should try to get some another round of books from Swamiji. I will try to manage it one of these days. But if you are already in India, I don't know if you are, then there is there are two places where you can get the books. One is from Vrindavan and one is from Mumbai. And you can just do the search and you can get those books from there, no doubt about it. Okay. Then, yeah, sort of another question was it that I missed? So Shanti Kumar says, although Anubandha Chatushtaya for Mandukya Karika is the same as others, but does that include specifics of Mandukya Karika, especially the content? Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So you can either take Mandukya Karika as Ekadesha. Ekadesha means a very specific aspect of the whole Shastra, or you can take it as the whole Shastra. Particularly, the Karika makes it the whole Shastra. Maybe Mandukya itself is Ekadesha. But what really is the beauty, this is why I've been saying that this is a course, this is a course, this is a course. I keep repeating that. So that means, from my understanding, it is such a extensive review of the whole Shastra that the Karika can be taken it as the whole Shastra. So there is no basic difference between them, no. Okay, good. So I think this is the methodology that I would follow, is that I won't go into the basics of, like, for example, Anubandha Chatushtaya and so on. I assume you already know it, but we'll give it commentary on it. And the same thing is going to happen in Mandukya. So I think Kalpana and a few other people have mentioned this a few times, that in a way almost like a question, that I thought that we've already done Mandukya and Karika once, why are we doing this again? I've heard that from her a couple of times and so few others also. I think you will find that this treatment, including my own understanding, because I've also gained a lot by going over it in more depth and so on. What you will see is that we will reach a much deeper understanding of what we already did before. Your understanding of what Om means. Some very beautiful things are going to come up. So, yeah. All right. So have a good holidays, and we will see you on the 30th of December. Hari Om.